Meep, is today the day? The day that we actually cool down our base and solve the heat problems? Welcome back, my fellow duplicants, to some more madness. So we've been working on this cooling system over here on the right that is going to be used to cool our base and temperature control our farms and do all sorts of nice things. I mean, look at Cry here. Super happy about it. Such the biggest smile you've ever seen on a dupe, right there. But on top of that, we're also going to mess with the duplicate modded side over here with some brand new cooling equipment that I've just downloaded, because that's how it works over here. I was feeling far too vanilla over here on the left, so I downloaded some more mods. Didn't I, Cordis? Oh yes. The numbers are increasing. Today's episode is sponsored by me. I recently launched a website and a YouTube channel named watchitprint.com. Gain experience and learn Fusion 360 in the process as you design this large format 3D printer. This is a very real printer and you can build it yourself if you so wish, and then use it to build your next design. Thank you for your time, and now back to the show. Oh, our favorite thermoelectric generator is back to save the day. Oh yes. We shall exploit that for all it is worth, and look at this, we even have some ethanol right here. Might even be able to combo that stuff up. At least that's the idea. So the idea, at least what I'm working on this time, dupes, you are just pouring polluted water over here. Which is good, that's what you should be doing. But you've yet to finish the power wires. Priority level 9, dupes. Alright, so focusing back over here on the left, what I hope to do is to actually just use our thermoelectric generators over here. Now, they're not going to be exposed to a ton of liquid. They're only going to be exposed to a little bit of liquid over here. So therefore, they shouldn't flood. But the idea is that they're going to sit in a small, very small amount of ethanol, which will absorb a little bit of heat, possibly turn into a gas, make the room nice and toasty. And that's going to be heated up by our aqua tuners. So these bad boys right over here. We're going to rebuild those over there on the left and achieve basically the same sort of thing. So let me plan that out real quick. First thing we're going to do is we're going to have some insulated tiles over here. So just like this, we have insulated ceramic right there. And then right down here, we'll put a couple of aqua tuners. So we have an in and an out, and we need 3 of these. And then on top of that, I'm going to have some aluminum ore tiles right up here, and this is going to be mesh. And we'll put just enough liquid down here in order to possibly and hopefully interact with our thermoelectric generators, which will be placed right on top of that. Now the thing is, I'll need a fair amount of those in order to get all of that to work as intended. So let's see here, we'll kind of bump this up just a little bit so that we don't have quite as much liquid over there. And you know what, maybe I won't try to use ethanol, I might just try to use water. We'll see. So there we go, got some nice obsidian over there, nice wallpaper, because we can definitely do all of that on this side. Yes! Alright, so while that's all doing its thing over there, let's shift over here to the right side, grab the printing pod on the way through, and then see what we have going on over here. Alright, excellent. This seems like it's just about all set up. Let me go ahead and just priority level 9, that sweeping command right there. And priority level 5 or 6, this one right there. I take a look at the oxygen in the area. We have polluted oxygen. Gosh, 6 grams of it. Okay, you know what I want to do there in order to avoid that possibility of having a little bit too much oxygen inside of there? I'm just going to create a small bump. Unfortunately, I brought in polluted water, and that's giving off polluted oxygen, which is just going to exist. Ice Fox! Dupes! Help! Quick! Deconstruct! Okay. We're alright. I just knew that was going to happen. Alright, excuse me, dupes. I'm trying to focus on this side of the map over here. We're going to have to set up a camera on either side. The point is, what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to deconstruct that little bit of granite, and then we'll build one tile up from there. That way, any of the polluted oxygen that's in this area will actually be bumped up into this one tile right there. And then we won't have to worry about it. Isn't that right, Meep? Your proximity, let's go ahead and just do that. Oh ho ho, what a nice little trick. Meep, We could also just punch out the wall right there if we really wanted to. Toxic. Come on, somebody want to finish this, please. Ah. All right, so while all of that is waiting to be done because my dupes have decided to leave for the evening, we can go ahead and bring in a little bit of our hydrogen right here, which we have conveniently stored up in a tank, which will now find its way into this environment. We have so much hydrogen. Whoa, watch out now. Hey, at least it's hydrogen, all right? Gonna set the bar reasonably low for this. Hey, that's 700 grams per tile, not too bad. Now, the question is, are the dupes gonna be able to sweep, or are they gonna get locked in? Ada, no. I see what you're doing there. No! Hey, come on. Yeah, come on, dupes. Ada, what am I gonna do with you? Nairon's coming up there to breathe. Build the door. Okay, there we go. It is now built. I have 12 tiles horizontally. I usually shoot for about 400 kilograms down here as far as the amount of steam I have. You can put in more or less depending on what you want to do there, but the purpose of this is just to delete heat. So this turbine's just going to run. I don't have any automation hooked up to it this time. So the amount I'm looking for down here per tile is going to be right around 33 kilograms, but I'll probably try to just cut it off at 30. And we have plenty of water up here, so we can just go ahead and break those liquid pipes right there, there, and there. We don't need those anymore. All right, so this one is set to be at 25, this one is set to be at 0, and that one is set to be at 40, so that one's a little bit higher. I think I'm going to go ahead and plug this thing in, see how it works. So what I'm looking for here is to see the temperature inside of this tank drop down to the target temperature. So this one's already at 30, all it has to do is go down 5 degrees, which will happen once we plug this in because now our liquid is going to start to flow down and through the aqua tuner, which means it's coming out quite a bit cooler. So if I look at this tank, it'll move the average of all the liquid inside of it down. So we should be seeing that a fair amount of heat is being exchanged right down here. And we've got enough water, so we can go ahead and just deconstruct this liquid pipe right there. We don't need any more down below. We should be up and running, at least trying to get this down to its target temperature. Same with this one over here on the right. It wasn't connected right here, so now it is. So that's running as well. So yeah, now we're pumping a lot of heat over here. We should also be consuming a tremendous amount of power at this point. We are constantly sucking down 3 kilowatts of power, which means all of this stuff's going to be running quite a bit, I would think. Luckily, our petroleum generator here, while tuned up, generates 3 kilowatts of power, so it's actually pumping out a lot. And we've got a ton of ethanol stored up, so that was prepared. So even with both of these running, we still have extra energy in the base. Looking at this first tank, we are now down to its target temperature of 24 degrees Celsius. So it has stopped flowing. You can see the water's no longer going down. It's no longer cooling. So it's just waiting to be used. Awesome. So by having a lot of liquid inside of this reservoir here, we can just kind of drop the average of a lot of water down, making it actually really quite stable. So that's awesome. So now all we got to do is do the plumbing and reverse all of this to start to run it throughout my base and start to cool things down. So here's where I have to plan my loop correctly. So what I really want to do here is control the things that really need precise temperatures first. So let's take a look at our farm here. Which one of these require an exact temperature to operate? All right, so I've laid out my first line. This has to be one of the most spaghetti pipe things I've ever done. It runs from down here, insulated, and then will temperature control very nice over here. Anything that I want to be right around that 25 degrees. Then it progresses over here, snakes around some stuff, goes here, there. Hopefully trying to keep this base relatively cool, probably around 30 degrees Celsius at that point. And then we get down into the hot equipment. It does a little bit of cooling where the batteries are, and then flips on over here to a refined metal for the stuff that's a little bit hotter, and then switches back to the insulated pipe and runs all the way back over to the right. That's one line. We got more. All right, so now I need to figure out where am I going to grow sleet wheat? Where do I want that? Who wants the sleet wheat? Do you want it, Sweepy? The amount of times I've actually farmed sleet wheat. Not many. Atmosphere, oxygen, polluted oxygen, carbon dioxide takes dirt and water. See, that's the tricky part. It takes clean water. Nice, clean water. So what we actually need over here is the hydroponic farms. Boop, boop, boop. And we're not going to grow any of... Well, you know, that's got a lot of ceiling tile there. Maybe I don't want to do that in that spot. Oh, there's so many things I would like to do, but I don't, you know. What do you think, Pip? All right, so there's that. It's on its way. We're slowly building it. This will need to be fed by water. However, that water is not going to be cold. So what I need to do is make sure that we keep this very cold, nice and cold. What's the other cold temperature one that we need? Because they should really be right next to each other. That's right, it's my nosh bean. Those need to be negative 25 to 0. Very cold. And they require ethanol. Alright, well I'll use these two spots for the really, really cold stuff. Which means all insulated pipes, because that's going to be water. And then we're going to have ethanol. And those will have to be fed in from an outside source. And then the environment inside of there needs to remain nice and cold. So we're going to do direct cooling right there, which is probably more than enough. So we'll switch it to granite and then take it back like that. Actually, here's what we'll do. We'll take that, bring it up just like so, and jump it over. And then the chilled water will find its way up here and then go in there. So I might actually want to set that below 0 degrees because I have a little bit of room there. Just to kind of guarantee that I'm cold enough. Because if I set it right at 0, there's a good chance that the nosh beans won't actually get cold enough. So I might have to set that all the way down to -5, which is pretty darn close to being freezing in the pipe. So, I don't know, maybe -4 or something. I'll want to see what kind of environment temperatures I get over here before I decide what is going to be planted where. I would expect to go through the nosh beans first, and then the sleet wheat second. Yeah, because, you know, everything's real simple. Nothing's complicated. This is the easiest game ever. Oh, the pipe spaghetti. Alright, so with all of that pipe spaghetti being built, what do we have over here on the left? We do have some thermoelectric generators built, but we still don't have everything else down here. Oops. What about the aqua tuners? What about sweeping? Alright, so how are we doing over here? We're now at -0.8 degrees right there, and we're at 24.4, so that's actually fairly consistent. That's nice. And the temperature over here went up to 40 degrees Celsius. Wow! Alright, so all of that actually worked as planned. And then right down here, we've got some steam, right around 120 degrees. Cool. So it's actually working. Now we just need to build a humongous amount of pipes. All right, Dupes, have you built this yet? Man, why aren't you building the steel, Dupes? What are you waiting for? Waiting coolant. Yo, what's my liquid doing? Nothing. Not a thing. This whole episode's gonna be about pipes. Sorry, guys. Well, this isn't good. My refrigerator is exposed. And it's not running. Alright, so I put in some drywall back here just to kind of, I don't know, finish off the visual look of this. My mod that has the drywall on top of things is indeed working. It's only a visual mod, doesn't really do anything besides that. But oh yes, it is feeding my, yes. It's covering up all those nasty wires and stuff. It's going to be real difficult for me not to build drywall across my entire base, but I know that I shouldn't, so I will try to avoid it. Plus, you know, it adds another thing that needs to be calculated, so if I can avoid it, it would help, at least with the frames a little bit. But hey, at this point, we might as well just kiss the frames goodbye. They weren't here for long. Bubbles, I told you to deconstruct the glass thing here. Not... Oh, jeez, Bubbles. Oh, you know what I need? I need the mod that gives me little storage containers that I can just kind of put on the wall. That would be good for the modded side. We don't need no normal storage containers for this side. How gross. Alright, I think I have found a solution to our problem here. What I can do is get rid of this door right here, which I think is causing my issues. And we'll replace that with a really fancy door. This one right here. We'll make a granite wooden door. It's a thing, isn't it, Super Meat? Yes. Alright, so default access is only to the right, except for all of the dupes that have the little underscore before them. Old school file formatting. There you go. Speaking of really fancy doors, though, I downloaded a new mod. One mod that we have been looking for so long. Wait till you see it. You're gonna love it. I guarantee you're gonna love this. And we're just gonna get rid of all this stuff. All right? We don't need any of this stuff here. We can deconstruct all of it. Sweepy, this is the best thing ever. What we are going to build right here, Mr. Ned Hamford, we are going to build a real airlock door. Oh yes. It'll keep all the nasty gas that we don't want coming through on one side while we let the dupes run right on through. Haha! Excuse me, Pip, you're on the wrong side. Oh, no, no! Ah! Seriously, how many critters just decided to... Alright, so the one thing that we do need over here, though, that we have yet to really solve, is the fact that we need power over there. Otherwise, we kind of get stuck on the wrong side of the door, which is dangerous. You might actually die. But hey, when's that ever stopped us from doing anything? Oops, I still see some aqua tuners that have not been built. What are you up to? Oh, I see. You're waiting for these Stirling engines to cool down the liquid, aren't you? Ah, here we go. Here's what we do. We deconstruct this tile up there, and then we use a temperature shift plate once we get rid of the wallpaper. And then we use a temperature shift plate made of ice. All right, how are these pipes coming along, dupes? Okay, we got some good spaghetti going on there. Spaghetti. Yep. I think you've just about completed the entire loop. That's pretty impressive there. Holy Shazbot. All right, bring on the ice, dupes. A little bit of ice. Do we have some snow? Anybody got snow? All right, Ned. Show me how cool this can be. Still waiting, Ned. Ned! Alright, so it's a few days later, and now I'm reloading the game. Let's see if this wooden door will hold in my dupes. So far, so good. Nobody's gone flying through the doors. Concordus, can you go over here? If you wanted to? No, you can't, but you can go inside of here. Hey, it looks like that fixed it. All I had to do is change the door. So there's something a little bit weird about the insulated mechanized airlocks right now. Alright, so awesome. Glad to have that solved. It looks like it was just the insulated airlocks that kind of have an issue, which I think can be adjusted on the mod so that it remembers the save state. Down here, you can see that we did get a little bit of ice down there, so the Stirling engines are doing a little bit more work. Honestly, I feel like this thing is just a little bit too hot. There's way too much heat down here. This thing is not keeping up. So by adding a little bit of ice up here, I've managed to get the temperatures quite a bit further away from each other. So we got 64 down below and 5 up top. So that means that this thing is running currently 17 watts right now, heat production 172 DTUs. That's how much it's producing, but it's taking in 1.7 thousand DTUs. So if I look at the water on the inlet, we're at 64 degrees Celsius. On all the way down here, we're at 63, so it's really only dropping 1 degree. Ugh. All right, so while that's cool and all, I think I'm going to have to step it up a little bit over here if I want to actually be able to make my own metal here, because unfortunately there's just too much heat right now, and I can't keep making progress if I'm completely saturated with heat. Luckily, this is fairly easy to change. We'll just go down here, rip up all of these engines. We'll actually go ahead and leave a fair amount of the water there, because that'll help us conduct a little bit of heat through them. And we're going to focus on switching these floor tiles over to some metal down here. So there we have it, Thermoelectric Generator. Now that's running at a negative 128,000 DTUs. Each one of these is actually made of something a little bit different. So we have iron, aluminum, copper. Kind of figured I'd spread out what metals I'm using and kind of just see what is what. All right, now it's cold enough and we're starting to make a little bit more steel down here. That's a good deal. Let's see what kind of temps on the way out we have. Ooh, 100 degrees Celsius. Yeah, we're going to have to be careful. We want that to be now below 30 degrees Celsius, therefore we don't get too hot. I don't want to end up boiling our polluted water here, because that would be real bad. Alright, speaking of water and loops and all that good stuff, what do we got going on over here now? Now, just for views, this is what we're at right now. So you can see that we have some pockets of area that are about 40 degrees Celsius, and the base in general, it's kind of hovering right around 30 degrees Celsius, with some spots being a little bit warmer. So, we'll kind of see how this works once we start to run our cold water through the base. So here we go, this water is now running out at 24 degrees Celsius, and we'll now go over here to the mealwood farm, where we'll interact with mealwood. And the most dramatic overlay ever, look, it's 27 degrees. So the real question I'm trying to answer here is, do I need to turn this into a radiant pipe or not? Because it would be ideal if I could save the metal and not have to worry about it. Alright, so our liquid is making it all the way over here, and we're starting to drop in temperature. I mean, it's not like a real dramatic drop. We're not going to see it go down really, really quick, you know, as far as one cycle is concerned, but you know, it will go down over the next couple of cycles. We should see this cool off. Alright, so that water's made it all the way down here, and now it's up to about 28 degrees Celsius. So it's a little bit warmer than when we first started, which might mean that we might want to start that off at about 20 degrees Celsius, depending on what temperatures we really want to target. Although we don't want to get too cold. That would be not good for the farms. But here's where we're going to pick up a lot of heat. So it goes, starting here, we're at about 29 degrees. By the time we're done with that, we're at 34. So we're actually taking away a good amount of heat right down here. You can actually see it in the background because that's a radiant pipe. So that cold generator was up over 40 degrees Celsius. Now it's down to 39 and dropping. And at this point, we're back into an insulated pipe, which means we're going to end up all the way over here. And as you can see, that actually used up our entire liquid reservoir, which means we might want to bring in more water to this loop. Gives you some sort of idea. That's actually where the end of the line is. Whew. So now we're getting every other, which is actually kind of what I was expecting here. However, I was hoping to have a little bit inside the tank so that it would actually balance, but what we're getting over here is 17 degrees. By the time we get back to this, we might actually build up enough inside of the tank. I'm not sure, because we're not shipping out quite as much. Alright, so I added a little bit more water here with a bridge right there, and then added a bridge right here separating these two lines. So now it prioritizes cooling, and I have a little bit left in the tank in order to average everything out. So you can see this comes up, we start to cool what's in the tank, it drops down till it's below our target temperature, and then that burst of nice cool water heads on out. So it sends off about this much water from right here to wherever it stops running each and every time. So we kind of get that return line and everything going. So it's pulsing nice cool water throughout my base, which is really what I wanted it to do. Alright, so with that figured out, let's move on to the next line. The really, really cold line here. So this one is going to be hopefully running at about 0 degrees Celsius, or maybe even just under that. There's a bit of construction I still need to do, so I'm just working on that. What we have going on over here, though, ooh, look at this. Look at this. Isn't this nice cold water, isn't it? Oh, yeah. All right, so steel is set up. Iron is set up. We'll get all of these up and running. Yeah. And remember, these are looking for anything that is below the certain amount right there, so they will automatically turn off once I have enough material. Oh, and there goes that heat. And you can see the thermoelectric generator is working again. These things are so simple. I love them. It's kind of cool. You can see the hot side there, and then it gets nice and cold over there. Cool. Seems like the steam turbine's doing just fine. Just staying a little bit cold on the way down there to 125 degrees Celsius. But you can see that the polluted oxygen that was in that environment, it found its way into that one tile right there, leaving all of this nice and steam. So you can create a small little chimney whenever you go to set up a steam turbine. And that kind of keeps you from having to do too much work to get all the gas out of there. Now, let's take a look at the temperature inside of our farm here. Ooh, look at that. Perfect. Nice, 23 degrees Celsius in there. What do you think about that, Sweepy? Ah, you love it, don't you? Beautiful. And then when we go up here, we take a look at another spot. Yep. It's got the right temperature inside of there as well. Beautiful. How about our base? Oh yeah, that's starting to look a little better. 27, starting to bring more green back into everything. Keep some green right down here. That's what? 30 degrees, 27 degrees. Real nice. We're bringing it back down. Give it about 10 cycles and this whole thing will be green. All right, and then hopefully we'll get this line right here. Come on, we can do it. We can do it. Just take this all the way over here. And then flip it over like that. We can kind of deconstruct this liquid pipe right there. And we should have the frozen line up and running. And then, if that wasn't enough pipe spaghetti for you, we need even more pipes over here. Because we do need clean water and we need ethanol in order to grow all of our little plants over here. So, good luck, dupes. You gotta build all of that as well. And we gotta pump all of this stuff out of there. Hey, you know what? We'll take care of this much easier. What we're going to do is just deconstruct that tile, and we'll just drop it all down. Oh, it's so nice to have all of this stuff right nearby. All my dupes they just come right on over there, then they go up and build all the stuff that they need to build. Ha! That's pretty handy. Maybe if we get enough materials, I can take this and I can just ship them out to little receptacles here, there, and everywhere, so. Although, by then we'll probably have all the stuff we need, so. In case you're wondering, yes, we're still constantly shipping over there. Like, this has not stopped at all. I suspect it'll be going for almost 100 cycles, maybe forever, I don't know. All right, you can see how cold that is. That's good, that's a good start. That's at 3.7 degrees Celsius. It does need to get down to sub-zero though. And then I need carbon dioxide in that environment there. And what about sleet wheat? You can work with carbon dioxide as well. So we need to finally pipe up some of our carbon dioxide down here, which we can go ahead and just tap right into here. We don't even need to worry about the extra bit there. We can just take that, figure out where we're going to run it up, and then dump it out into a spot like that. All right, so here you can see that we're letting the salt water flow on out. That's good. And then hopefully we'll be able to go down here and just mop this stuff up. And then replace a lot of this oxygen with carbon dioxide so that we have the right environment and we can start growing our nosh beans. Let's take a look at our liquid here. Oh, we do have ethanol. Thing is, that's going to come in so hot, and I'm not 100% sure if I have to run this like in a cooler right next to this liquid pipe, which if I do, I can do that. We do have area. I could set up something like in this spot right here where we have ethanol and the chilled polluted water. I could run those side by side and cool it down on the way in. So that way kind of the hot side out is cooling in, which would actually be a really good idea, wouldn't it? Kind of sounds like I should just do that. Tell you what, rather than rebuilding it all right here, because that's kind of crazy, let me just find another good spot for it. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll use a couple of gold tiles. I'll actually just do it right down here. So then rather than use that bridge, I'll just bring the ethanol down, jump it over with the normal bridge, just like this, and do some gold pipes, just like that. And we'll convert these to gold right there, kind of transferring the thermal energy between the two, and then it can run out and do everything else that it needs to do. Oh no, where's salt water coming from? It's pouring down into my base, not good. Too much salt water? Maybe too much salt water. All right, so now we've got the second cooling line up and running. So we've got this one running at negative 1.8 degrees Celsius. That's going up here like this, over here, and should run through this line where it will get nice and, well, it'll cool all of this down. Although we still do have a fair amount of liquid up there, so we're trying to get rid of that so that it, we're not trying to cool that down as well. So many pipes in this map. All right. Meanwhile, Toxic Fairy over here is just mopping like crazy all day long. I'm just trying to get rid of this top layer of liquid if possible so that my dupes don't get wet feet as they run across there. All right, so as far as the gas pressure is concerned, we can actually take this and we can run it up to 10 kilograms inside of here. So I don't need to get rid of all of the oxygen. I just need to add enough carbon dioxide to pressurize the bottom of this. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. And over on the super modded side, we are successfully actually running quite a bit of metal through our metal refinery. Hey, we even have a couple of Stirling engines doing some work over there. And that means we now have a couple of aqua tuners up over here. I have a couple of different ideas of how I might want to cool everything around here, but at least we're gonna do 2 of them. I mean, to be completely honest with you, I could just put a thermoelectric generator here, there, and everywhere with an automation signal right next to it and just temperature control the entire map that way. That's how easy that could be. Then again, we do have this nullifier right up here, and I'm not using it over on the right side of the map, so maybe I'll use it over on the left side. Maybe. Alright, so it's been a few cycles. How are things working? Well, over here, you can see that we're starting to get a little bit more green showing up, so that's good. Things are now mostly below or at 30 degrees Celsius. We also have a couple of very cold areas over here as this is getting down to temperature. So that is our hydroponic farms and then the sleet wheat above that. Currently, we're still hovering about 3 degrees above 0, so it's a little bit too warm for our nosh beans. However, the liquid that is our ethanol is actually going to be quite cold by the time we consume a little bit of it. So this right down here is relatively cool. However, I still have a fair amount in the pipe that is a little bit too hot. I think what I'm going to do here is bump this from -1 just down to -2, right? Just an extra degree. Not a huge difference, but just a little bit. So what I want to be careful of is that I don't get the polluted water too cold. So I'm keeping a close eye on that. That right there got to about -16, which is getting pretty close to freezing in the pipe. But I do think I can drop that to -3, bringing that temperature down just a little bit more. So that's -16, ooh, almost -17 right there. It's about as close as I want it to go. So then all of that nice cold water's running up right here. It's still at negative several degrees right there, and then it's in this environment. However, it's still not keeping this cool just yet. We're not there just yet. Oh, look at this! Hey, now we're talking. Except for its body temperature is just a little bit too high. Working on that. We're just about there. All right, so some progress report here. Over on the dupe side, we have all of our metal built up. That's very nice. And this stuff has been producing power and just keeping ourselves nice and cool over there. Look at that, much better. We've also been able to build up this over here now that we have all of our metal. So that's awesome. Meaning that we can go ahead and hook up a couple of aqua tuners, start to get that running. But I do need a little bit more ethanol. I did mine up about as much of it as I could over here. I need just a little bit more. But that does give me access to a couple of aqua tuners that I can use to control the temperature of these farms up top. Speaking of farm temperature control and all of that good stuff, check this out. Ooh, this is nice and cool. We're looking at -degrees over here, which is keeping the nosh sprouts growing. That's nice because they're just below 0 degrees Celsius. And then right above that, we have all of these sleet wheat. So I'm growing sleet wheat farms up here. And these are hovering right around 1 degree Celsius right there. And they kind of vary a little bit. So we have about 4 degrees on the left and about 1 on the right. So about a 3-degree difference between left and right. So I'm guessing I'm going to see a similar thing right down here, which means I might have to drive the temperature down just a little bit more. I don't know. We'll have to see. The liquid that is flowing in down here is definitely cooler than it is for the water. Matter of fact, both of these are actually, so the ethanol is flowing in at 28 degrees Celsius, which is a little bit cooler because we're actually cooling it with the return line over here. And then the water is right around 31 degrees. So this little heat exchanger right down here is actually working out pretty good. So it comes in at 1.5 degrees Celsius and it leaves about 3. This comes in at 48 and it leaves about 9. So not bad. I think we'll actually see that temperature come down over time, making the whole thing even out a little bit more. As we take a look at the larger view of our base and we take a look at the temperature of everything, you can see that, yeah, we're right around 28 degrees. And what we've been able to eliminate is that really hot spot that we had right down here that was over 40 degrees Celsius. It's now down to 32 degrees, so that is much, much better. Both of these units down here are continuing to run, so we're definitely pulling more and more heat out of our environment, so that's for sure. And we are recuperating a bit of the energy that we're spending on that via the steam turbine. However, if we take a look at the power reports for the previous cycles, power usage from our thermal aqua tuners was negative 468 kilojoules. And of that, from our steam turbine, we were able to recover 212. So it did cost us around 200 and some kilojoules per cycle in order to keep everything colder, to cool things down over time. I'm guessing that as we get closer to a stable temperature inside of our base and our farm, the requirements, the amount of energy we're spending over here is actually going to go down over time. Another thing that's happened here is I've built up the other gas filtering system. So now I'm able to store up a little bit of natural gas and polluted oxygen over here on the right as well. Still working on kind of cleaning things up and getting everything, looking nice. But we're getting there. Things are coming together. This also means that we can start to cook up some better food. So, frost buns, I think those are going to be on the menu now, which has a quality standard of +2. Very nice. So we're going to celebrate our brand new food with a little bit of drywall. Yeah, don't you like that, dupes? Haha! Very nice. I think the next thing we need to focus on, though, is our new gas range up here, because we can now make surf and turfs. Because we have a consistent source of barbecue and cooked fish. We also have pepper bread up there, because we have sleet wheat, and, well, I guess we don't really have much of pinch of pepper nuts. Not yet. But we'll get there. Spicy tofu. No. We could make ourselves some frost burgers, though. Look at that. Frost buns, lettuce, barbecue. We've got all the ingredients. My dupes are gonna be eating good. After hundreds of cycles of eating lice loaf, you guys might get something a whole lot better. Just don't hold your breath about that. At any rate, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed this little episode here of Oxygen Not Included. Stay awesome, guys. Peace. Brothgar out.